Here is the record of economic calamity that Kamala is desperate for voters to ignore. She cast the tie-breaking votes that caused record inflation. She cast the votes. She's trying to blame Biden, as you know. So it was Biden, but I'm going to do a better job. But it was her. And if she wants to do a better job, she's still got 5 months left, right? But she can't do a better job because she doesn't know how to. And she's of a place in life where she wouldn't know what a better job is. Going to destroy our country. And as a result of Kamala's inflation price hikes, they've cost a typical household a total of $28,000. These are numbers coming from government.
Audio sound good?
Coming from me. $28,000 she's cost a typical household. Kamala's inflation nightmare continues to cost the average American family $1,100 every single month.
Thank you, guys.
$1,100. Again, government numbers. You're paying $148 more a month on.
No.
We have no idea who they are, where they come from. But we're also a failing economy. Kamala Harris is a radical California liberal who broke the economy, broke the border, and broke the world, frankly. Very destructive to the entire world because as we go, oftentimes the world goes. She destroys everything she touches. And if she wins, your finances and your country will never recover. You're never going to recover. A radical left person wants to put price controls all over the place, which will end up driving up your prices, not down your prices.
Not true.
Harris has just declared that tackling inflation will be a day one priority for her. It's going to be day one.
He's struggling to read.
Day one, really, for Kamala was 3.5 years ago. Where has she been? And why hasn't she done it? Why hasn't she done it?
She's the VP.
I hear her complaining all the time. She was the border czar, but she didn't do anything. It's the worst border czar in history. There's never been a border czar so bad. She's been unbelievable in terms of her badness to some of our allies.
In terms of her badness, I am so sick of his speech patterns. I just want to say, the point of this live stream is to fact check what Donald Trump is saying. So if you don't want to hear me pause and fact check, you can watch the live stream straight up. But the point of this is to push back on what he's saying because CNN's probably just airing this as is.
Some of our great allies, you know who I'm talking about. Here is the record of economic calamity that Kamala is desperate for voters whenever they want to give over the money, and that's a lot more than 10%. So when you think about double, they've actually quadrupled or more than that. Think of that, quadrupled, which really kills the American dream for young people. Young people are being devastated by what they've done to our country. Grocery prices have skyrocketed. Cereals are up 26%.
At least try to hide the fact that you're reading. Look, he's like struggling to read. Look at him.
Bread is up 24%. Butter is up 37%. Baby formula is up 30%. Flour is up 38%. And eggs are up 46%. And many items are.
Is this all coming off the top? This is impressive. Is Donald Trump just freestyling all of this?
Up at much higher rates than that. Now Kamala is reportedly proposing communist price controls. She wants price controls. And if they worked, I'd go along with it too, but they don't work. They actually have the exact opposite impact. And
the communists aren't voting for VP Harris. I'm sorry, but the communists in America are usually the ones that say that VP Harris and President Biden are like the same as Trump, but she's not a communist.
But it leads to food shortages, rationing, hunger, dramatically more inflation. Their Inflation Reduction Act, by the way, was a disaster. It's what caused the inflation. Their Inflation Reduction Act was a con job. They actually admitted that it wasn't really for inflation that they did it. They don't know why they did it.
Why does he just talk?
They named it the Inflation Reduction Act, which was a very nice name. Got approved based on that. Unfortunately, people didn't understand it. I understood it. I said that's going to...
They passed the Inflation Reduction Act after inflation had already started. Donald Trump just made the claim that inflation was caused by the IRA. Also, what is up with this color palette that Trump always uses? It's always a red tie, red and blue. I guess that's my color palette.
Caused tremendous inflation, and it
he
did,
stole it
among
from
other
me.
things like energy. She's running on the Maduro plan. We call it the Maduro plan, like something straight out of Venezuela or the Soviet Union. This announcement is an admission that her economic policies have totally failed and caused really a catastrophe for our country. And beyond that, a catastrophe in the world. A little bit unrelated, but not totally unrelated. We have wars breaking out in the Middle East. We have the horrible war going on with Ukraine and Russia. All these things would have never happened if I was president. Would have never, ever happened.
Not true.
And they didn't happen.
They did.
Since Harris took
Ukraine got annexed, or Crimea, sorry, got annexed in 2014 under Obama. Donald Trump did nothing while he was in office for 4 years. He always postures and said that he would be super rough on Putin. Russia was occupying Crimea while Trump was in office.
Car insurance is up 55%, and they just announced it's going to be substantially higher than that within the next week. They expect big increases in car insurance. It's out of control, and insurance generally. Thanks to Kamala's war on American energy, electricity prices are up 32%. Gasoline prices are up 50% and going higher. Meanwhile, real incomes are down by over $2,000 a year. So
dude, this just reeks of desperation. This is a man who knows that he's slipping in the polls, so he keeps holding these emergency press conferences. But in this one, he can't even look at the crowd. Like, I thought this was supposed to be the charismatic presenter who has a great stage presence. This man can't even look up from his paper. Don't you learn in 4th grade that you're supposed to make eye contact with the audience while you're speaking? Donald Trump hasn't looked up once. Don't you guys agree that this is a desperate attempt to try to recapture headlines?
The incomes for people are down $2,000 on average.
Look at the crowd,
Government
homie.
Numbers. The typical American has seen a 4% pay cut under Kamala and Biden. Crooked Joe Biden. Credit card debt has exploded by 50% under Harris to a record high. It's now at a record high. Never been anywhere close. Since March, and by the way, people are going to have to start paying that, and it's not going to be a pretty sight for the next period of time. It could be a substantial time. Since March of 2022, the average middle-class household has lost $33,000 in wealth. How about that? $33,000. That's average. In July alone, 350,000 people were added to the unemployment rolls. It's a lot of people. 350,000 people added to the unemployment rolls. And think of that. That's in 1 month. That's in July. Virtually 100% of the net job creation.
He is skewing these numbers so hard. He's taking our unemployment numbers and skewing the hell out of them.
Do you know that? Most of the job creation has gone to migrants. In fact, I've heard that substantially more than beyond the number of 100%. It's a much higher number than that, but
it's higher than 100%.
The government hasn't caught up with that yet, but virtually right now, as of the time they did this, virtually 100% of the net job creation in the last year has gone to migrants.
How would it be high?
Harris gave work permits.
It's anywhere from like 90% to like 180%, somewhere around that range.
Social Security numbers to more than 3 million illegal immigrants to steal jobs from Americans. So think of that. And, you know, they're having a lot of problems with Social Security. I'm going to be the one to save Social Security, but they're having a lot of problems with Social Security because under their system of putting all of
authoritarian tendencies, I'm going to point them out when I see them. You guys all know this authoritarian tendency to act like you are the only one that can solve the problems of a country. The courts are rigged, the elections are rigged, the institutions, the FBI, the DOJ, it's all rigged. Donald Trump is the one who's going to somehow restore Social Security and restore our democratic norms. It's an authoritarian tactic.
These people into it, it's going to blow up and fail. If she's elected, Social Security will fail. It'll be a blow-up like you've never seen before.
Like we've never seen before.
Bankruptcy of the entire system, probably the nation itself.
God, is anyone else so sick of his speech patterns? Like, I'm so sick of hearing this guy say that things have never been how they've been before, or whatever he says. It's so annoying.
You don't have to imagine what a Kamala Harris presidency would be because you're living through that nightmare right now, and it is a nightmare. It's a nightmare. And you're going to stop inflation, but we're going to have a crash, and we're going to have a crash like a 1929 crash if she gets in. You saw a gentleman yesterday who got up, one of the top analysts in the world, frankly, and said that if Trump isn't elected, he predicts, and he's predicting you have a stock market crash like 1929. He also said the only time and the only reason the stock market has gone up, even though it had some bad moments recently.
Sorry, that's on the end of the... That's not my fault.
I think we'll take a substantial lead. You saw the polls come out today. We're leading in most of the polls, but you'll have a... I have a lot of friends over there. So I don't think they're reporters, however, are they?
This is the stock market that's about to be a historic. This is the historic crash that we've been facing because of Kamala. Look at this. It literally had a 2% correction, and people that have never... Donald Trump must have a fundamental lack of understanding of the stock market if this is his big crash. This is just a one-year chart. Back to the
reporters. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. When I left office, I handed Kamala and crooked Joe Biden a surging economy with no inflation.
He did not. No, he did not.
The 30-year mortgage rate was around 2%. Gasoline had reached $1.87 a
because
gallon.
Of
we
COVID.
Actually had many months where it was lower than that, but we hit 187, which was a perfect place, an absolutely beautiful number. Real income surged by more than $4,200 a year when I was president. Harris and Biden blew it all up. If Kamala wins the election, the worst is yet to come. You'll have a real problem in the future because people don't respect her in the world. People don't respect her in the economy.
You want to talk about a stock market crash or the economy crashing or just, I guess, the top 500 companies in America. Who was president in March of 2020 again? Can you guys remind me in chat? Who was president when the stock market, dropped by 30%? And then who was president as it recovered and hit all-time highs? Back to the live stream, sorry.
Economists are laughing. They can't even believe this is happening to our country. And she wants to change a free enterprise type country into a communist type country. That's what she knows. She's considered far more radical than Bernie Sanders. That's all you have to know. Far more radical. And
By
she
who?
picked somebody
Who says
that's
that?
far more radical than Bernie Sanders. He approved a bill recently, tampons in boys' bathrooms. He wants tampons in boys' bathrooms.
Who cares? Mind your own damn business.
It's terrible, but that's the person that she picked. Surprising.
What? Sorry, I just can't fathom this. What is terrible about that? Number one, mind your own damn business, to cite Tim Walz. But number two, genuinely, who cares? Is this supposed to win some voters over? Who's the swing voter that's like, January 6th left a bad taste in my mouth, but tampons in boys' bathrooms? It's just so odd.
Big pick to me. I was shocked. He's also got one of the worst run states. Many people are leaving the state, sixth most. And from her state, she destroyed, as the Attorney General, she destroyed California along with Gavin Newsom. And she,
it's just
San Francisco, was a great city 15 years ago. Now it's considered almost unlivable. You can't live there. And
by who?
What they've done to that great state with the beautiful weather like this weather. They have this weather all the time. And they have the ocean, they have the sun, they have everything good. But what they've done to it is a shame. And she's going to do the same thing to our country.
Kamala Harris and Gavin Newsom have really destroyed the sun. I mean, they had the sun on their side, and what they've done to it is terrible.
It was the policies. They had a recent article, and I didn't know this, but you're allowed to rob a store as long as it's not more than $950. Has everyone ever heard of that? You can rob a store, and you have these thieves going into stores with calculators calculating how much it is. Because if it's less than $950, they can rob it and not get charged. That was her that did that. Harris is campaigning on the largest tax increase in American history, including ending the Trump tax cuts, one of the largest tax cuts ever in our country's history, and working with families, a gigantic...
Criminals no longer use guns. They use calculators. They use calculators when they steal.
Capital gains tax hike they want, and a new wealth confiscation tax. It's called wealth confiscation tax, which isn't going to make all of her supporters, she's got some supporters that are wealthy people because they're stupid people, but they're wealthy people. She said that a 70 to 80% tax rate is, quote, a bold idea that should be discussed and studied. 70 to 80%. She co-sponsored legislation.
A 70 to 80% tax rate? I'm assuming that, I don't know the exact quote, but she was absolutely talking about corporations that are grossing billions of dollars in revenue, not on some dude making $60K a year, which is annoying because my friends are always like, oh, Trump's tax cuts were great, and they make like $80K a year, which is fine, but it's like, dude, you...
Abolish very popular private health insurance, which 150 Americans rely on, dumping everyone onto inferior socialist government-run healthcare systems with rationing and deadly wait times while massively raising your taxes. She wants
This
to take
guy
away
can't
your private
read.
health.
This guy genuinely can't read. This is like the dude in class that can't read and he's struggling. He's looking down at the paper. I mean, dude, and why is there Folgers coffee and honey bunch of oats over here on the side? What the hell? Anyone have an explanation?
There are many people in this country who spend a lot of money on private health care. It's the best health care in the world, by the way. But they want to do it. They worked hard to make money, and they want to do it. Under her, you're not going to have private health care plans anymore. And you can be a wealthy person or a middle-income person, and you want to spend on a really good plan, better than a government plan could be, far better. And you're not going to be allowed. You're all going to be thrown into a communist system. It's a communist system. You're going to be thrown into a system where everybody gets health care. You wait for your doctor like 10 months, 12 months, 11 months. You got to see some of these plans, how they work in other countries.
I know it's a really cheap gotcha, but who in chat wants to hear Donald Trump asked, what is the definition of communism? What do you think his answer would be? He'd be like, well, there's many different definitions over the years. I don't want to share my favorite definition of communism because there's so many of them.
Graceful. So private health care is gone. She wants it out. Now, she could change on that, and she might change on that. She's changed on everything, but I said, why are you changing? I actually was asking somebody that knows her, why is she changing? She had these policies and ideas for years and years and years and very solid on them. All you have to do is go back and look at your tapes, which many have been discarded because they don't want, discarded by the fake news, because they don't want people to see what she said just a year ago and 2 years ago. I've never seen anything like it. Even my statement on waiters, waitresses, caddies, a lot of great people, people that drive cars. No.
People are asking why I'm laughing. It's just ridiculous. I'm laughing because he's a ridiculous human being. I can't watch a man who is like in his late 70s stand up there and like struggle to read really kindergarten level analysis of politics, throwing out the word communism. It's just beyond parody. Like, it actually makes me laugh.
No tax on tips. All of a sudden, out of the blue, she comes out. That was months ago I said that. And she came out and she said, no tax on tips. She could have at least said, you know, President Trump had some great ideas, but one of the ideas was no tax on tips. I think it would have been nice, and people would have accepted that. But she just came out like it was hers, and she never had her. In fact, just the opposite. The IRS is all set up to really go after people that make tips. And they passed legislation and signed executive orders making it really hard on waiters, waitresses. And that was very recently. That was just before I made the proposal. They were really going after people. So they're lying when they say that, you know, this is what they want to do, because their legislation, which everyone knows, and their executive orders were extremely tough. They also put 88,000 new IRS agents in that can go and harass everybody. She wants to...
By the way, guys, we have a huge project coming up next week, so make sure you have post notifications on. It's going to be one of the most ambitious things I've ever done next week, Monday through Friday.
Close dozens of existing power plants, causing rollbacks of power in our country. You're going to have brownouts, blackouts, the likes of which you've never seen, and plunging millions and millions of people into poverty. That's going to put them into poverty, and they're not going to have heat. They're not going to have air conditioning. She wants to close dozens of existing power plants. So maybe she'll change that too. But she's got a lot to change. Almost everything she's ever said, she's got to change. Nobody's ever seen, and that's why we're here. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. She wants to abolish coal, oil, and natural gas, 84% of U.S. energy supply. And it's the coal and the natural gas, clean coal, I call it, and oil, natural gas that create electricity. And by the way, I'm a big fan of electricity. If we're going to go with the AI, if we're going to do that, I don't know if you know, but we need twice the amount of electricity currently supplied for everything to the entire United States of America. So to be competitive on AI, I was talking to Elon Musk. We had a great discussion the other night.
Did you guys?
I agree.
Did you?
And he said a big problem is getting the approvals to create all of that energy, all of that electricity specifically.
Y'all, as much as I hate listening to Donald Trump speak, but as much as I love listening to it with you guys, I got to go to a meeting in about 10 minutes, so I'm going to hop off. But, guys, next week, ambitious project, Monday through Friday. Turn post notifications on. You guys could be here for something wild, something that's going to happen, a live stream. Be here. It's going to be wild. I got to dip. I got to go take care of some business and get on a call. I will upload a video of myself fact-checking this in a few minutes. Thank you guys for being here. Turn on post